I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, how'd you sleep?
I slept like a baby.
That's
nice.
Great. Did you dream about anything?
Just your smiling face.
Oh, wow.
Glistening in the sun of a post-pandemic world. We're not there yet. That's a future thing.
We're pre-post-pandemic.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We're pre-post-pandemic.
Yeah, there will come a day where we could feasibly record a podcast in person.
Oh my God.
Can you even imagine?
Get all my spit particulate in the same room as yours? Sounds good.
That's where the magic is, baby.
That's when them spit particulates start hitting them others. That's where real podcasting takes place.
I wonder if I'd be able to handle this. I feel like I might be a little nervous about
that's fair.
Like having to show you what my body does while we podcast.
I thought you meant just be in the same room, but what is your body does things when you cast?
I'm not paying attention. I don't know what's going on.
You're just profusely sweating the whole time. There's just a puddle around you you've never noticed.
I'm just a mess by the end of this thing.
You're just shaking uncontrollably, sweat everywhere.
I'm trying to play video games with my hands while I do this podcast to really make me think about video games.
You're just like that really nervous person who does the presentation in front of the class, fumbling with their flashcards, trying to remember what they're going to say.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Wait, hold on. If I load this level really quick, I'll remember. Just give me a second, everybody. Brings back some terrible, anxious dreams of mine.
Were you a bad presenter in classes? I don't really remember.
I was a bad presenter all the way through college.
Oh, mamma mia.
And then when I started going back to school, I started getting good at presenting.
You're like, I have nothing to lose.
I had nothing to lose.
I have seen the inside of Wilkie Fleury, the law firm.
Pretty much.
I have nothing to lose.
I'd seen the other side. You can't take me down even further. But no, it was more that I just stopped using flashcards. Flashcards mess me up.
We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah, if I plan out what I'm going to say, I whiff it. Because once I get one word off, I'm derailed completely and totally, and I'm useless.
My plan has been foiled.
Yeah, pretty much. But if I just go up there and just have an idea of what I want to say, and then just say it works way better.
I like the idea that you have a word painting for the podcast, that you just sort of have an idea, a shapeless sort of, or maybe a shaped form in your mind, but nothing really worked out. Well, let's introduce this podcast, shall we? It is Video Game Podtimism. It's the Optimists video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
My name is David.
Hey.
Sorry. Yes?
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, did you play video games?
I did. Yeah.
You want to tell me about them? I don't know why I'm stumbling over this part. This part's usually pretty easy.
You also, once again, sound like, this time, a very nervous person on their first date.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I wonder if our first podcast sounds like it's our first date.
Probably very well could. We should go back and listen and just...
Do you like video games?
Yeah, it's like reading one of your...
Hideo Kojima's funny?
Reading one of your old papers from school and just being like, oh my God, I wrote this garbage. I thought it was good.
Our first episode was definitely named Metal Gear Mandir, so we at least knew our hits. We knew the classics immediately.
Metal Gear is going to take us to this whole podcasting adventure.
Yeah, when I feel weak, I can lean on Hideo.
In the arms of Hideo. I can't go that high for the next part.
No, absolutely not.
I won't even attempt. But I have been playing video games, Chase.
Could you tell me about them, please?
Yeah, I will. So Hades has taken over my life.
Hell yeah. This is what I wanted. This is what the people wanted, David.
You are the people.
It's me. I'm people.
Hello, I'm Chase People. It's so good. I am Zagreus. I am trying to claw my way out of hell.
Yeah.
I've gotten so close to beating Hades.
Yep. Okay, sure.
Not thought I had him, and then he's like, no, here comes super dad
Second form.
mode.
Super dad mode.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Pretty much like, you know how dads always have dad mode when you're a kid? Like, they're playing with you, and then all of a sudden they're like, all right, gloves are off, child. And then just
They turn on their
demolish
dad
you
strength,
immediately. You're just like, oh my God, I never knew someone could be this powerful. That's how it
So
felt
much
when-
heavier than I am.
You know, right? That's what it felt like when he took out his second form.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel like I'm getting close to being able to take him out.
Yeah. Do you what weapons do you have unlocked at this point?
I have all of them, I think.
Sure.
Maybe I don't. There's probably more.
I think there's like 6.
Yeah, I have all those.
Yeah.
I have the machine gun one and all the others. Then I'm just slowly unlocking different forms of them.
Yeah.
Which are pretty cool.
What's your go-to weapon in this game, David?
Let's see. Oh, there's so many good ones. I really like the spear.
Interesting. Okay.
I like the bow, and I like the fists.
Yeah, the gauntlets are pretty good.
Yeah. The twin fists. What about you? What do you like?
I'm almost the opposite, I feel like. I think the first time I beat Hades was with the gun.
The gun. The gun feels weird.
It is. I think the only reason I did it was because there's like some form of it or some buff that you can get where if you stand in like the grenade area, like if you lob it up and hit yourself, it'll make you stronger, like your other hits more powerful. And so I was able to play this like game of like shoot a grenade up, get hit with it, jump, sprint, and then just keep blowing myself up. And it like kept me strong through that fight.
Gotcha.
And what else? I do like the sword. Like it's basic, but it is pretty fun. Like, it feels pretty balanced. What is the other one? There's like the shield. I like the shield.
The shield's good too. Makes me feel like Captain America.
Absolutely. You're like tossing it around in the room and shit like that. I'm definitely the play style that I had in Hades was very much like go get up in the shit and then dash out very quickly. And so I think the shield benefits that play style.
Gotcha. I'm much more of a hit them from far, dash in with like some sort of dash power, and then like run away again. It's kind of my thing.
Hell yeah.
I've also been I played a little bit of Maneater.
Maneater? Is that the shark
That's
game?
the shark game. Yeah.
Is this game any good?
I didn't care for it personally.
Okay, sure.
I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
It was too bloody. It's too realistic.
Too much shark energy.
I don't know if I enjoy eating human beings as a shark and then like swimming through their red blood water.
Yeah.
It's a little too much. It's a little too much for me. I mean, it controlled well and it was like an interesting premise and you know, I definitely do think there's a lot of fun to be had in there, but for me personally, it was just a little too on the nose with the graphical and artistic and stylistic decisions. Maybe if they made it more cartoony, I would have found more enjoyment in it, but it was just a little bit too much.
I definitely noticed my appetite for like gory games has severely declined in the last like 10 years or so as graphics have gotten so good that I'm like, ah, man.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't need to see like this human's blood swirling so realistically in the water right now.
There was one scene in what was it? Until Dawn, where Rami Malek's character like he was faking it,
but he got in half, right?
Yeah, that fucked me up. I was like, oh my god, that looked so real and so scary. Whereas like even I'm not sure if it's just that I'm like an old head now and like I don't have the fucking mental fortitude to deal with this anymore, but like even like Manhunt when I was younger was like, this is kind of bad, but like not terrible. I think because the graphics were just not that good.
Yeah.
It could only go so far. And the same thing with like Mortal Kombat or something like that. Even now, it's just so ridiculous that it's like not quite as weighty as like even the stuff in Until Dawn where it was like you could see Rami, you could see like him being in pain in the video game. Like I was like, oh, this sucks.
This does suck. Yeah, I remember probably the first game where I was just like, it's a little bit too violent for me. I think it was The Darkness. Do you remember this game?
I think so. Yeah, this is like a 360 title.
Yeah, you had the like demon arms or whatever.
Yeah.
Something about eating the hearts of like your enemies was just too much for me with that one.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I'm growing up. It's really happening, everybody.
It is weird. It's hard for me to tell like what the trajectory of this stuff was because I think when I was like 12, I was like, this is fun. Grand Theft Auto is cool.
Yeah.
And like violence was definitely a big part of that. And it's hard for me to tell if like that's just what was hot at the time or if like me being that age was like influencing it. Like I wonder if 12-year-olds now are like, dude, I love Fortnite, but if there could just be like some dismemberment, that would be great.
I don't know. Dismemberment was a big thing for a while. I think it's just because developers are like, hey, look what we can do now. We can actually dismember things.
We can simulate limbs,
Yeah. So maybe it's not as huge of a thing now, but I'm sure young guys be like, oh damn, I just cut off your arm. That was tight.
Yeah.
Still, I think that's still a thing.
Yeah, sure.
So I played that. Played Maneater. I also played some Tony Hawk with Jahan.
Hell yeah. Our friend of the pod, Jahan.
Kicked his ass.
Oh, hell yeah. Sorry, Jahan. The dumpster's that way.
I mean, it's not fair at all. It was the first time I played Tony Hawk in like a decade.
Sure, yeah.
But only one of us is a real skateboarder.
It is true.
Step into my skate park, Jahan. I'll show you who's the real boss.
Step into my skate park. I'll do the 900 on you.
But their competitive modes were pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing and playing local multiplayer with him.
It's just like split screen, right?
Yeah, it's just split screen. There's a couple different games. You can play horse. That's what we did. It's pretty much like you just horse for a combo. So like if someone biffs, then the other person gets to go, and you get to score like X combo points better than them to not get a letter or whatever.
Yeah, I think they had that in the original as well.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's really fun. And then the last thing I played was Rocket League.
Hell yeah.
Played a lot of Rocket League because once again, Jahan was here, and they have split screen multiplayer for Rocket League.
Didn't know that. Did not know that.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. The UC, I assumed they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way of things nowadays.
That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is. So I was very pleasantly surprised when they had it in there, and it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
So Jahan and I got to played with Travis as well, and we're able to just do a little 3 squad with 2 of us out in Santa Barbara. Really good. And that's all I've been playing. What have you been playing, Chase Albee?
I have been playing some video games, as it turns out.
Oh, really?
The first one that I will mention is I'm still playing Fire Emblem Vision Quest, this ROM hack that I talked a little bit about last week.
Do you actually go on the Vision Quest and Vision Quest? Like, do you do like some peyote out in the desert? And
So there actually was a mission that was like kind of a hallucination, which was kind of fun. It was like an extra mission where Storch, the main character, had to confront his dead brother from the past and stop blaming himself for his death.
So Storch definitely sounds like the stoner friend in almost every single horror movie.
It's either that or like Big Bird's weird cousin. It sounds aviary for whatever reason.
Sounds like Stork. Yeah.
Storch, the stoner cousin to Big Bird who like doesn't have his life together. I can't even count to 10, dude.
That's a pretty good one. Big Bird actually just made Sesame Street for his brother.
Oh, man, the dark history of Sesame Street. That's so much sadder than I was expecting it to be. Oh, my God.
It's just the way it is, baby.
That's just the way it is. I'm always... Oh, God. So something has happened recently. I've realized that whenever I sing something or reference some kind of sound or song in the podcast... I can see, I have future vision. I go on a vision quest and see myself editing it 6 days later. And I'm like, do I really want to pull this 3-second clip of this song to put it above what I just said?
The answer is
sometimes
yes.
it's worth it. Sometimes it's worth it. But other times I'm like, I don't know. Not this one. I'm not going to do this one.
Which one? What makes you decide whether or not to put it in?
I think if it's gonna add something to me, like saying it, like if somebody doesn't know what the sound is, then yeah, probably that. Or if like my putting it back there would sort of add a little bit to the joke. I don't know that adding this is gonna do very much for me.
I've never heard this song, Chase.
Yeah, see,
I've never heard it.
I'm making a reference to a song that like isn't my co-host doesn't even know. So like
you gotta put it in.
What value? Oh no, I was saying what value does it have?
No, you gotta enlighten us.
This is another Mommy Milkers / Nutbusters disagreement here.
Mommy Milkers, dude, it hurts me every time.
Yeah,
there's so many bad clan names.
Yeah, no, it's rough out there. I will agree with you on that in just a moment with a video game that I'm playing. But Vision Quest is still quite good. The writing is still pretty clunky. There's a lot of people just sort of explaining who they are as a character, which is like,
bummer.
Again, not something I usually see in video games. Like, I think typically writing is like, unless it's pretty rough, something that's mostly invisible to me. Mm-hmm. But it's just like very much like, hey, do you remember back when we did this and you were the good guy in that situation? Yes, I was the good guy. I don't mean to burn on this game. It's not really something that's like occupying my mind very much, but it's definitely something I've been noticing.
Yeah, when non-professional writers take over.
Yeah, and so like I think that part of it is a little weird, but like the rest of the game I think is like pretty well done, and the maps I will say are like very well balanced most of the time, which is something that I was not expecting. Like just from a gameplay perspective, it feels pretty fair that whenever you're walking into a situation,
That's impressive.
of like, if I prepare myself well enough, I think I should be able to do this mission. I think when I'm thinking about fan-made games, usually balance is something that I would assume is just sort of an afterthought. Like that they kind of want to get their idea out there, but then like making the actual game and like the last 10% polish, usually I would expect not to be there, but it seems like it actually is pretty good. So I'm definitely impressed with like the game making part of it. So yeah, that's Vision Quest. Also beat Shadow of the Colossus.
Nice.
I was really close last time we talked. I was like on Colossus 15 or something like that. And then I played the rest of it. The game overall, again, still very, very good, very phenomenal. The storytelling is so concise and like has no fat on it, just absolutely trimmed to the bone, to the point where like this is all you get, and like if we removed anything else it would be nearly incoherent. And so like that part of it I think is really cool. I was looking up, I can't remember the game designer's name, but he was talking about his process of game design for Shadow of the Colossus, and he had mentioned that specifically it was process of removal, design through removal, I think is what it was. So like take a game and strip it down to whatever is like the most essential part of the video game. And I thought that was a pretty interesting way to design a game. Like I feel like it's almost like the spiritual opposite end of how most video games are designed.
Yeah, like every open world game nowadays.
Just throw everything in there.
Just here's your mini map. Get really acquainted with it because you're gonna need it.
Yeah, exactly. So like I thought that was like both definitely ahead of its time, because you see that a lot more now. Like kind of starting with Breath of the Wild, you saw a lot of that of like, let's just take back and like add only the stuff that makes the most sense. Obviously Breath of the Wild is a little bit more built out than this, but still like it being sparse in the parts that count, I think are like indicative of Shadow being an influence on like sort of the current wave of open world games.
Most definitely.
The controls were fucking brutal. Still very brutal.
Yeah.
Hard to play, hard to control.
It's part of the experience.
Unfortunately enough, it is.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. Come on.
Yeah. I don't remember playing the final boss either.
Really?
Like
I was there. I watched you. I remember this clearly for some reason.
I wonder if I had gone back to play it in the interim at some point, because most of the other ones I was like, okay, this is the one I have to do this, or like this guy doesn't like fire, or this guy's feet are weak and so I have to shoot him with arrows or something. But the last one I was like, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing here. It was also like really difficult. I think so like I guess spoilers, but I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. For the last level in Shadow of the Colossus is like half of the challenge is just getting to the Colossus. It's like this stationary thing that you have to climb up once you get to it, but there's all these like areas, alcoves that you have to run to like stop getting shot from its big laser beam.
It did have a big laser beam.
Yeah. So let me see. That was pretty challenging. I think like I get that there's like a temptation to make the last boss in the game like a more difficult version of the rest of them, but I think the game probably would have been served a little bit better if the last boss was more in line with how the rest of them went, where it's like, it takes a few minutes to figure out like what's going on, but the fun of any of those boss battles is realizing like, okay, I know what I have to do. I'm going to try and do that. And then it ends with you like fighting this gigantic monster rather than like, oh my God, I ran out of stamina and fell off his arm again. Now I have to go climb back up this thing that I've already done 20 times.
It's always brutal. That stamina gauge, you see it going down and you realize like a couple seconds beforehand, like, I'm just not gonna make it.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen this time.
Nothing you can do. You just gotta let it happen.
So it's definitely interesting going back and playing this just as like a artifact of kind of PlayStation 2 era game design, and then also as an artifact of something that would go on to influence a lot of other stuff. So definitely an interesting experience playing it. I still love this game overall. Another game that I was playing was Force Gemini.
Oh,
spoilers. I played that a lot this week.
Okay.
Which I will have more thoughts about later.
Yeah, you better.
About this game, lest we give away the main segment of this podcast.
You hadn't already seen our cool clip art.
Yeah, you'll realize why later. Or probably the episode title. I've started putting the game that's in Good Games in the title. So if somebody's searching on the internet, www.videogamepodtimism.com/JetForceGemini ? And then they'll be like, yeah, I can find that here. We got that.
Oh, is that how it works?
Computer, do you have Nude Tane? Anyway, the last game that I've been playing, David, is Indie Darling. Small-time video games. It's Fortnite, David.
Oh, what? You've been playing Fortnite?
I've been playing Fortnite again.
Oh, man.
Prepare anyone who is younger than us for us to sound like the oldest person you have ever heard talking about a video game, but I have been playing Fortnite again.
How is it?
It is still very good. Okay. I played this probably like a year and a half ago at this point, maybe 2 years. So I'd played this a lot on the Switch probably 2 years ago at this point. This was like right when I'd moved to Seattle, and I liked the game, and then I played it a lot, and then I was like, okay, I think I'm done with Fortnite. And like I've sort of like paid attention to it a little bit just by like proxy of being on the internet and like playing video games. Of like I see Fortnite every now and then. I know what's going on in there.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to explain what Fortnite is as a video game, but it's a battle royale video game.
Cartoony battle royale.
Yes. It is. I still totally understand why this game is popular. It's still incredibly fun. So I'm playing on the PlayStation 5, which runs like just incredible. It looks really, really good. I didn't play it before their like 2.0 Switch or whatever. There was like that big event where they like turned the game off for a couple of days so they could upgrade. And I haven't played since then. So like the game is just like pretty much an entirely different thing than the last time I played it.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the rough edges have been absolutely sanded off. It's like just such a nice experience to play. And the most jarring part of it was the like in-universe lore that they've been building.
Yeah, there's a lot of like story in there now.
There's a lot of shit that has happened. Yeah. I'll try and play a little bit of this for the listener. Maybe it might not translate to a podcast format, but I want to show you, David, this video, which is the first thing that got served to me when I pulled up the Fortnite games. Like, this is what happened when I like played it for the first time, was this cutscene on PlayStation 5, I should say. None of this was present the last time I played. It was just fucking Fortnite. It's also Troy Baker, because, like, of course. Like, there's so much story happening right now.
Like, has he always been a character in the game?
I don't even know. That's
or
the
do
thing.
They just make him up for this thing? Yeah, there's like so many different characters in the game now. Sarah Connor, Alien.
Yeah, so hold on. This was the part that I was like reeling at. This, for those who are listening, Xenomorph just jumped on top of Troy Baker's character. And then Sarah Connor shot it off. There are Terminator bots. And of course, Ripley from Aliens.
Oh my god.
Kratos. The Predator. Like, I couldn't handle how much shit was happening at once.
Tomb Raider? Kratos.
Yeah.
Banana Guy. Ryu. So is this just like video game? The video game?
I'm pretty sure.
Video game's the video game now. Because I mean, there was Thanos was in it. There was Star Wars tie-ins and stuff.
Pretty much the last time I was playing it was when Thanos was in it. So, like, some other shit happens here where this, like, alien dude comes out of this meteorite and, like, they fight each other for a second, and then he, like, says something else that's, like, in-universe lore, and they're friends all of a sudden. And then it leads you into, like, a tutorial mission.
My god.
This was a jarring experience, David.
Do I have to stay up until 2 a.m. looking up Fortnite lore now?
I know.
Oh, no.
Like, I was just like, what is happening in this video game now? Because I was just
marketed towards us, obviously.
No, well, like half of it, right? Like some of these characters I like Alien is not necessarily a new reference. That is very much an older horror movie, but like
80s baby.
So strange. Anyway, so this was my experience coming back into Fortnite. Was just a jarring slap in the face of what I've been doing for the past like year and a half. All that said, it's still a very good video game. It's very fun. Mm-hmm. The core of the like battle royale stuff is like absolutely still there. It's still fun. I currently am feeling a little bad about the people I'm getting matched up with.
Why's that?
This is still a very popular game, so I presume that there are a lot of people playing it, which also means there's like 10-year-olds who like maybe this is their first game.
Is this the humble brag right now, Chase? You just was stomping on these 10-year-olds?
I feel bad, David. I don't know how to build in this video game. I really do not use the building part of this other than to like get on top of a roof. But it's not hard to win this game right now, man. It's not hard at all.
You've been winning. You getting a lot of chicken dinners?
Victory Royale, my man.
Yeah.
I feel like half of the games I'm playing right now are W's.
Damn, half?
Which is not a testament to my skill. I'm not that good at this video game.
You playing against other people who are just singles?
I definitely only singles, but I think they're probably matching me up because I haven't played on PlayStation before. I've only played on Switch. And so I think they're like, he's new. We should put him in with the rest of the people who haven't played a video game before.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't feel good. These W's are a little hollow at the moment. Yeah, they're just the I don't know. I wouldn't want to be getting my ass kicked by some fucking 30-year-old when I was playing Halo as a kid. That would have felt terrible.
Boys gotta learn.
So half humble brag, half sort of showing my shame of I've absolutely been taking the W's and raking in the Fortnite bucks. But
destroying the happiness of young children, Chase Albee.
Yeah, I guess that's it, huh? I guess that's me this week.
The destroyer of children's hopes and dreams for Fortnite.
I guess that's, whatever. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
If you get them to turn off Fortnite, I think that's probably a good thing.
Listen to how old we sound.
I'm an old man. Get off my video games, kids. Go read a book.
I'm not getting my ass kicked hard enough.
It's too late for me. Video games already got me. You save yourselves.
Go throw a football and be handsome.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it anymore.
Too old. I ain't even 30. I'm fine.
Nah, baby, it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's almost there.
It's coming down the pipeline.
All of this will bring me to my Podtimistic thing, David.
Yeah.
It is Podtimistic thing of the week is hold left trigger to aim, David.
Hold left trigger to aim.
That is my Podtimistic thing of the week.
Why?
I have played a couple of video games now. I have played Force Gemini, which, spoilers, the targeting system is painful to play in this video game. I've also played Fortnite, which is a pretty competent shooter at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been thinking about my experiences aiming in video games. And, it's just so nice to be able to, kind of run around and have separate controls for, looking and separate controls for aiming. I'm how just every video game has hold left trigger to aim now.
They do.
Anything that has something that you're going to use as a projectile has hold left trigger to aim.
Who started that? Was that Resident Evil 4?
Oh, I don't know. It could be. They were definitely early, right? Because that was GameCube era. I don't know which one is sort of the precursor. Because when I think about games like this, where it's hold L to aim, I think about Resident Evil 4, probably Gears for over that shoulder.
Yeah,
they may have perfected it. I don't know if that was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also I feel like Call of Duty could be lumped in here with aiming down your iron sights.
Yeah, they were the first one. Whatever Call of Duty launched with the 360, that was the first time you could do trigger aiming.
Yeah, so somewhere in there was a first. But that era definitely made it a lot easier. And I guess impressive too, because in Resident Evil 4, did you control your aiming with the C stick? Or was it the left analog?
You didn't move.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't play it on GameCube. I played it on PS2.
Sure.
So I'm pretty sure I used the right stick to aim.
I don't remember, honestly. But yeah, more impressive because I was just thinking about, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but how difficult it is to make a shooter with one stick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How challenging that can be. And it kind of seems like Resident Evil was hitting that market because they forced you to stop and aim a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good God, it's so much easier to hit left trigger and aim at something.
Yeah, it's a pretty great game design mechanic that happened the last decade and a half.
Yeah, it makes everything easier. Bows and arrows, aim.
Mm-hmm.
Guns, aim. Throwing something, it's doing a good yeet.
Hold that L
with the left trigger. It's also good because it feels like you're holding something, right? You're putting your muzzle up or grabbing your bow with your left trigger, right? It just feels good.
Mm-hmm. Especially with a little bit of tension.
Especially with the very good PlayStation 5 haptic feedback. Yeah, no, it feels great.
Nice.
David, do you have something feeling your sense of
do.
optimism this week? Tell me about it.
It's local split screen multiplayer, Chase.
Hell yeah. I'm surprised we haven't even talked about this one yet. This is a classic.
Video game companies, please save us from the darkest timeline. You have the power.
There was a period where they were really not trying to do this
at all. A good 5-7 years, it felt like. Maybe longer. Just oh, sorry, if you want to play with your friends, they also have to have the console and the game and an online
and Xbox
account.
Live. So
you
dumb.
Bastards.
Yeah.
But it was so nice to be able to play so many of my games. Local split screen with Jahan when he was here.
Yeah.
So many of them we could just jump in. Go. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Easy peasy. Simpler times.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so much. And I feel like just with COVID ending, I'm just going to want to do that more often with folks.
Just nothing but split screen. Yeah.
Come over. Be in the same place as me. Once it's appropriate, everybody, don't do it yet.
Breathe my healthy air.
Breathe my healthy filtered air. I have a HEPA filter now, baby. Gotta sip on them crisp, clean air particles only.
It's crisp, bubbly, carbonated, only from the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, because you definitely want carbonated air
Oxygen.
in your lungs. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just wish every game had this.
Yeah.
I really do. This game should be a social thing and not just an online social thing. It should be social with people that you're around.
You get to play a lot of Divinity like this too. That couch co-op Divinity run.
And like RPGs, you guys, any RPG that has like a large party of people, where's the co-op? Where it at?
Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine being able to play as like Garrus in Mass Effect if you're a second player?
That'd be tight. Just play as the character whoever like Shepard has the best relationship with.
Kelly Chambers.
Hey, Kelly Chambers.
Kelly Chambers.
Let me grab my pistol. We'll go. She never did any fighting, did she? Unless like cutscenes or anything like that.
She was like, just the ensign. I don't know what her title was.
Ensign sounds right.
Kelly Chambers was a yeoman. I don't know what that. I don't know what that means.
Oh my god.
Any hoozle. Yeah, co-op rips. It's the best.
Yeah.
Also leads to the very fun metagame of screen looking, which I sure do love.
You love that?
I mean, it's fun.
You love the screen looking?
It's fun to be shitty.
You bastard. All those times I accused you as a child. I was right, wasn't I? There's
definitely a few instances of screen looking. I will not lie to you. I pretty much strictly want to play Mario Party when quarantine ends. That is the only game I would like to participate with.
That'd be pretty good.
Would you like to move on to our main thing, David?
Yeah, let's do it.
Phenomenal. Hey, David.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
What's up? Hey, great. I have gotten another White Claw. What I was going to tell you during our intermission was that we've procured the third packet of White Claw, the new flavors that have dropped.
There's new flavors?
There's new flavors.
Oh, my God.
And I've been enjoying the pineapple flavor, which is very good.
Piña.
A very good flavor of White Claw.
All right. Is it nice tropical feel to it?
Yeah, gives me huge, warm summer vibes. I've been dying to go to Hawaii recently, and this is getting me about 100 yards in that direction.
Is it summer vibes on a level of no vibes to Persona 5 with the window open and a fan blowing vibes?
Unbeatable, David. Nothing has transported me quite like seeing an open window in Persona and realizing it's probably hot in this video game.
It's hot right now. It's hot in here.
Hard to top. But this is getting a little bit closer. Yeah. Anyway. It's good games, David. It's the segment where we talk about the okayest and at this point just good games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them in the most optimistic way possible. This is pretty much our only segment recently. We can't stop doing it. It's just so nice.
Maybe we need to do a story sometime soon.
Absolutely. I've been dying for another fan fiction.
We can do that next time.
But yeah, well, so like, I mean, with the lack of like modern game releases, we haven't played a lot of the same stuff. And there's not a lot of like spooky season content. So we're just out here doing good games, baby.
Yeah.
That's just what we doing.
We in here.
We in here.
we not out here. We in here.
We in here. Anyway, so I don't know how we talked about doing this one, but we brought this up recently, covering the N64 classic Jet Force Gemini.
Great name, first of all.
A very good name. Yeah, great name.
Jet Force Gemini. Just a lot of j.
Yeah, it's got a bit of alliteration there. Feels good coming out of the mouth.
Feels good coming out of the mouth.
The mouth feel is very nice.
Yeah.
You played this game a pretty fair amount when you were younger, yeah?
I played this quite a bit as a kid. Yeah, I played this one a lot. My dad loved this game.
I remember this being a thing that your dad was really into Jet Force Gemini.
He got me Jet Force Gemini, and then it became his game. So it's just fun game. Good memories as a child.
Yeah, totally. Before we get too far into it, let me actually would you allow me to do some hot statistics, David?
I'm welcoming above room temperature factoids.
Great. Here we go. Hot stats.
Hot stats.
Hot stats. Hot stats.
So Jet Force Gemini came out, it's either October 11th or October 12th. There was some disagreement on the internet about when it actually came out, which I find sort of fascinating.
That's weird.
Yeah, but it came out maybe October 11th of 1999, so a little bit ago. It was made by the one, the only, David, Rareware.
Rareware, baby.
Mamma mia, this game company.
They're a good one.
Have slowed down a little bit in the like recent years, but like I looked at their catalog of video games, they were pumping video games out when they were
prolific.
A younger company. Oh my God. Like multiple releases a year for a good couple of years. Of course, they had the classic Sneaky Snakes, 1991 classic for Game Boy, David, obviously.
Sneaky Snakes?
Sneaky Snakes. You've got your Battletoads.
That's so funny.
I know. Sneaky Snakes is just funny. I like that name.
Fun to say, yeah.
Your DK Country, of course. You've got your Killer Instinct, your Blast Cores for N64. GoldenEye, no problem. Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, Star Fox Adventures. Come on.
Star Fox Adventures, that was the one on the GameCube?
That was the one on the GameCube, It was. That was like a dinosaur adventure game first.
Yeah.
And then like, let's put our favorite Nintendo character in here. Starfax.
So
let's
weird.
Put him in this. I know. I played it. It was a very good game.
You liked it?
So, yeah, it was great. And then I guess most recently, something that anybody might recognize in the last couple of years would be Sea of Thieves. That was a recent Rareware release.
I didn't realize that was Rare.
It was, yeah.
Oh.
My understanding is that a lot of the folks who are working at Rare, sort of like during the N64 era, have mostly moved to other companies.
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what they're in charge of. I have a review, David.
Video game?
From the game outlet.
Show video?
Total.
A new challenger.
Wow. Unfortunately enough, I had found a review from Joe Video that simply refused to be made funny. I translated it many, many times, and it refused to be funny.
It's like, no, I will be good. I am a good translator.
In no matter what language. This is a normal, good review. So
there will come a day
Joe.
when Google's translator technology will make this segment moot.
Yeah, I hope it's not soon, because it's much more funny for bad sentences. So yeah, I had to pull one from the German outlet Total with an exclamation point. I have run the review through Google Translate through every language I could find until finally arriving back in English. So I have mangled their review. Which I will now read for you. They said, Jet Force Gemini Shooting offers exciting third-person shooting games for fan. Numerous game skills, hidden places, space accessories, and interesting ideas for small game make this game the culmination of Christmas Millennium. Give yourself strength. 85 out of 100.
That felt like Brick Tamlin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reading a review of a video game on Action News or whatever it was from Winkerman.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just sort of pulling words every now and then.
Sounded so much like that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, they had Total. I think Total did a pretty good review, but they liked it. They liked Jet Force Gemini. David, what is this video game? What is Jet Force Gemini?
Jet Force Gemini is like an action adventure shoot 'em up type game.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of guns that you shoot your enemies with. It's a third-person game, so you control with a view of the character. There's some light platforming elements to it.
Yep.
But the main thrust of the game is you run around as one of three main characters, and you shoot bugs.
Yep.
And you try to save little cuddly bears.
Yep.
There are upgrades you can find throughout the level if you explore. Yeah, there's a decent story in there, or a decent amount of like exposition, I guess, for an N64 game about a big mean bug person going around killing people and enslaving them. So yeah, that's probably the thrust of the game from what I can ascertain. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. The gameplay essentially plays out like from planet to planet. Like you just like move from one place to another, fighting bugs, and then
each level is a different planet or area on a planet
or spaceship. That's also levels.
Space.
Space. Have you seen that Tim Curry bit from Command and Conquer? We have to stop and watch this before we move on.
Space?
I think this was like in some video game. It was like Tim Curry did like voiceover for, God, I wish I knew what this video game was, but he like is messaging your character and responds with this video.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Command & Conquer was the video game he was in. Anyway, Jet Force Gemini, the big bug you're fighting is Mizar, who's like trying to fuck over the galaxy. And he's a real big, mean bug. So, yeah, there is a lot of exposition, but I don't know that a lot of it's like particularly explainy. Like, it sort of just like tells you a tiny little story. Like, whenever you go find a new village of bears, they're like, hey, here's what happened to this village.
Something
they show
terrible.
You a cutscene. Yeah, the bugs came, and it was bad.
Yeah, pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah, so the game is essentially you like unlock these three characters like one by one throughout, like by playing the game, just like you run into them. And then you will eventually end up on Mizar's planet. You try and fight him, you get your ass kicked a little bit. And then the bears say, hey, we're going to upgrade your armor and give you jetpacks. But if you want to beat the game, you have to find all bears, which is a pretty high bar to meet in this video game.
It's a lot of bears.
It's a lot of bears. So I played a lot of this recently because I genuinely do kind of like this game outside of just, looking back on it. Like, it's definitely enough to sort of retain my interest. But I got to the part where you get the armor upgrades and I was like, okay, cool. The dog turned into a tank and I can kind of hover around, but I don't think I want to find all the bears. That seems like...
The bears are so much.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
I read that was kind of like a late design decision that they made, that like initially it wasn't a requirement to catch all the bears to go fight the like final boss, but in this version it is. I think they had said like we probably wouldn't do that again.
That's good. That's a good choice, or a good thing to say in retrospect.
Yeah. Okay, David, do you want to gush about this video game?
I do. And it starts with King Jeff.
Oh my God, King Jeff, you're right, dude. Hell yeah.
What a name for a king of bears. King Jeff? Hilarious.
Yep.
Grade A comedy. My God.
It's very rareware, that kind of comedy.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that doesn't age super well, and I'm staring directly at Conker's Bad Fur Day from Rare, but I think King Jeff is a pretty timeless joke as far as jokes go in these video games.
I mean, Jeff's as popular as ever. My name, Jeff.
My name is Jeff. The hit 22 Jump Street meme. That is still great.
So that was the first thing I had to gush about. Did you have anything you wanted to gush about right off the bat?
Let's see. I've got a list. The sense of style in this video game. I love it.
They do have cool designs.
They have great designs. I think sci-fi was sort of a hard bar to hit for
N64.
like video games. Yes, N64 specifically. Like, sci-fi is pretty tough to do, I feel like, without kind of good graphics. And so like, Mass Effect works really well. Because like the writing is very good, but like space works good when you can see it. Good. But yeah, they did a pretty good job here. I think the overall vibe and tone is really interesting. I had looked up like what influenced a lot of this stuff, and like the team was definitely pulling from a lot of places. But one of the influences that they cited was this 70s anime called Science Ninja Team Gatchaman.
What a deep cut.
I know. And in the West, this was known as Battle of the Planets.
Whoa.
Let me show you some of the stills from this.
Oh, I've seen this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. These weird like bird people.
Yeah.
Bird person.
It oozes like Toonami throwback or like Nick at Night sort of anime or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, they pulled a lot from this. And like, I think stylistically you can kind of see it.
Yeah, totally.
The sort of like heroes in space sort of vibe. The ships that are like very much look like almost retro futurism sort of cars. Like look at the ship design here. This looks like it could be in Jet Force Gemini.
I mean, that one is just straight up a car in the background there.
That's a car.
That's a race car.
So like, yeah, I think it like if you, I'll post some of this on our Twitter if people want to take a look, but
like the themed ships, the ships that look like them.
Yeah. I think the color palette is pretty like clear too. Like the blue plays a really big role in these stills. And the same thing goes for Jet Force Gemini. There's a lot of blue and like a lot of like very bright colors, whereas like I think sci-fi can sometimes be like very self-serious, and so it wants to like make its color palette very dark and intense.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff is much more like as if they were just like superheroes in space. Reminds me a lot of like the original designs and like the Gundam. What is the first Gundam front mission? What was the fucking name of the first Gundam season?
Mobile Suit Gundam?
Mobile Suit Gundam. That's what it is. Exactly. Yeah. I'm listening to this podcast right now. It's called the Great Gundam Experiment. Or no, the Great Gundam Project. Uh-huh. And it's just these two folks who are going over every episode of Gundam, which is
Ever. There's so many.
There's a lot of Gundam. They're like very explicit that like we're going to be doing this for like 10 years.
Oh my God.
I'm on, let me see, episode I think 10 of the podcast, and I think they're like 20 episodes into Mobile Suit Gundam.
Wow.
It's really enjoyable. This is a phenomenal podcast. I love it.
There's some interesting things going on in Gundam.
Yeah, like more than I would expect for a 70s anime.
I mean, even up to the one that was new when we were kids. What was it?
Wing.
Gundam Wing. Oh, God, yeah. Gundam Wing.
I love Gundam Wing.
That was good.
Yeah, if you want to go listen to the Great Gundam Project, you can go support the Great Gundam Project on their Patreon. It's like $1 to get all these episodes. So I think it's pay what you want, but the minimum is $1. So like go get it. It's a very good podcast.
Cool.
Anyway, the designs in Jet Force Gemini kind of remind me of that era of sci-fi coming out of Japan, specifically with the anime here, and then also like the Gundam stuff of like I said, there's almost this like retrofuturism that they're putting forth.
Sure.
Which is, it's just great. It's a very like kind of bright and shiny version of sci-fi that I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just don't see that in sci-fi all that often. So even as a kid, I was like, damn, this is fucking good. But in hindsight as an adult, I'm like, this is still fairly stylized in a way that I kind of wasn't expecting it to be.
That's true. It's like if you showed me a picture of, like without anything super identifiable, I probably would be able to tell you, oh, it looks like Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah, exactly.
Just based off of the color palette, the stylistic choices, it has a distinct style. It's true.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. They, the designers also talked about the like video game influences that they had on this one. And they said specifically that they pulled from a lot of stuff, which I think makes sense given like the mini games and like all the different like weird little tangents that the game goes on. But they talk specifically about Super Metroid, which I think is like pretty clear just on the face of it.
I could see that, yeah. Kind
of brighter sci-fi stuff, but then also like the ship being a really big part of any level. The exploration being a part of it.
The exploration with power-ups spread throughout the map.
Yeah, like power-ups and like upgrades specifically, like limiting you from going to certain parts of the map. Like I think it's in the like first level or something, like the first little jungle you go into. There's like a huge chasm that like it is very obvious you cannot jump over this. Which is very Super Metroid of like, here's the thing that we are showing you that you can't do, sort of inferring that like eventually you will go here and do this. So when you go get the jetpack later in the game, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I remember a lot of places that I couldn't get to.
There's so many bears over here.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. They talked about Galaga a lot, which like I thought was interesting given the like sections of the game where there's all those like floating enemies that'll show up.
Yeah.
And you'll have to like,
these guys are so annoying.
I know it's pretty difficult. But that was interesting to like kind of draw that comparison. So yeah, that's I think the influences are really interesting and how they pull them together were just pretty neat.
I also really liked the music.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The music was solid for an N64 game. It definitely had like a lot of different themes and motifs and whatnot. Got stuck in your head, and just like good boss music too every once in a while.
True.
Good mood setting music when something was happening.
That's true. And like I'll tie this in because I forgot to mention this just now, but Super Metroid influencing too with the bosses too, like just these huge monsters that you have to fight.
Yeah, I like the bosses. They're just giant beasts.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. The music in there was really great. The main theme of the song or the game is just a fucking earworm.
Oh yeah.
Just absolutely incredible.
Guam. It's very heroic, very spacey.
Yeah,
it's good. They really nailed it. They really nailed that one.
Definitely going to mention that, like, yeah, it felt like a hero in space sort of thing. Yeah, it was good stuff. I feel like a lot of the music in this, it does a pretty good job of like setting the mood correctly. I love Mega Man X, but every song in that video game is like balls to the wall. Holy shit, listen to this music right now. There's very little calm in the music in that game, but I think Jet Force definitely does a better job of like, here's some moody music for when like things aren't too crazy yet. When you're just kind of wandering around these like hallways or something like that. I think Rare in general had pretty good music. They had a pretty good like handle on when to use intense music and how to also write like a very good theme. Banjo-Kazooie fucking rips. That was also another N64 game.
Yeah, it's just when the music hit, I was like, oh yeah, this was one of Rare's things, was just like a really good experience beyond just the gameplay of like the graphics, the art, the music, everything going into this game. They were kind of like Naughty Dog of the time. It felt like, you know, where it's just like a full-fledged experience. Everything was top notch.
Yeah, firing on all cylinders for these video games. Yeah, totally. So this is a hard discussion, but the shooting for the time was pretty good.
Yeah, when you're working with just the one joystick, I guess you could say it was pretty good.
You gotta swing for the fences, and I think they were trying here. I want to give points for creativity and just attempting to make a 3D shooter work on one stick.
Although a mouse and keyboard doesn't translate, guys. Don't try it. Don't try it. So much of how the targeting system is set up is like most of the time you can kind of just run around and like shoot at dudes. Like it'll kind of auto aim for you. But there are sections where you have to like aim specifically at something. And on the N64, they wanted you to just like tilt up a little bit and hold it while you shot a dude, rather than like any other 3D third-person shooter where it's like you press up and that's just where your cursor is now. This one returns you to center whenever you let off the analog stick, which is a lot. Like it's odd because in hindsight, that's a really wild decision. But I think like, again, because we're talking about this like early section of video game design and specifically 3D game design, there just was so much that they were like, I don't know, maybe this. Maybe this is what we do. And whereas I think like with something like Mario 64, where they like nailed a lot of how good that game should feel, I think with something like a shooter, you were kind of taking risks, and it seemed like there was a lot of thrashing around in that space before it really got landed on that like, no, we really do need probably 2 analog sticks for this to work right. We gotta put the space in the controller for the second one, guys.
It's gotta happen.
Yeah.
As evidenced by all of the attempts at first-person shooters on the PSP. Didn't have another analog stick, and everybody was like, I guess R targeting? You just press R and target it?
Coated arms, man.
Dude, could have been great. There was this quote that I had found from the design team. There's a couple of things that I thought were pretty interesting. There's this interview on IGN about Jet Force Gemini. I think this was like a review that they had of the game at the time. And there's a sentence in here that I think is really telling. It said, "It should come as no big surprise, really. Rare has created another N64 hit in Jet Force Gemini. A game," and this is the part, "a game that successfully drags the almost forgotten action shooter genre of years ago into 3D, which is such a wild thing to think of because like third-person action shooters are like the video game.
But the Fortnite, look at it.
It's the video game, right? Like when you think about video games, like third-person shooters are that right now, at least. And so like it's really wild to think about that. Like they were trying to make a genre at the time that was not popular and had not really been innovated in for a long time. And they, the review would go on to say that the original title, created by the same Rare team that developed Blast Cores, follows the exploited Juno Veil, blah, 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 whatever. But they had just made Blast Cores, which was like an entirely different video game. Just not even close to the same thing. And so it's like, I don't know. I just found it interesting that they were trying to build in this space that hadn't really been covered recently. And it's also telling that like IGN was like, dude, fucking 3D shooters, nobody does that. Nobody makes those video games.
Just can't do it. The technology wasn't there.
I mean, genuinely,
able to.
I think that like shooters on the N64 were reaching a little bit. I genuinely don't think a lot of them with one stick make a ton of sense. It's pretty hard to play those games.
Yeah, like thinking back to all of them, like Turok.
Yeah, Turok.
That was so hard.
Even GoldenEye, like it's a good game, but the the specific targeting system is that you have to hold R, and then it does the same thing where you kind of aim a little bit, but then it always brings you back down to center.
Yeah.
And so like that works for most of the game, because usually you can just pan across the screen and shoot at dudes who are right in front of you. But for something like Jet Force, where there's like hovering enemies and enemies in trees and shit like that, it is a much more challenging problem to try and solve.
Yeah, the bugs in the trees. Oh,
Tough.
man.
Tough.
Those sniper bugs were the worst. So glad it only takes one shot to get them.
Seriously.
This would have been there for a while.
Just getting shot trying to hit these things. I will say that the version that I played was in the rare replay pack, and they had changed the control scheme for like dual stick controllers. So if you held left trigger to aim, throwback to 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, throwback to the Podtimists thing of the week.
Then it'll essentially just like put you in normal third-person shooter mode, where you can move up and down and left and right, and like it'll just sort of keep your cursor wherever that is.
Sounds so much better.
It was, and it was still difficult. Still not super easy. I think like the stuff that modern 3D shooters do a lot of, with like giving you a little bit auto aim and like locking on targets just a tid, is like something that this just didn't really have. Like you were mostly just controlling a mouse with a analog stick.
Sure.
There was this quote that I'd seen from the lead artist on the game. He was talking about the targeting system, which was a wild experience. He said, after many attempts to automate the change of view and targeting mode based on the context of the action, we settled on a manual system with the targeting camera fixed behind the character's head. As we had felt, this delivered the best gameplay experience. The decision was a success. The solution we ended up with is a beautiful thing, says Musgraves with a smile. It feels very old school to me, difficult, unforgiving, and ultimately precise.
No. I'm sorry. I respect your work, but man, that's just the first two things, yes. The last bit, no.
No. Not precise. Yeah.
It's not precise.
It is difficult. It is unforgiving, but precise, I don't know. I do think it's just sort of an artifact of like, they were trying to swing for something, and they've like...
trying to figure it out. Being like, we're going to be the trendsetters. Let's go.
And yeah, definitely a lot of respect for just like giving it a shot. They came up with something.
No, that's great. It works. Doesn't work great, but it works.
It's like almost a more difficult problem to solve for, because like they do that, like he was saying, they do sort of this dual system where most of the time the game just auto targets while you're running around, and so if you're shooting, it's kind of aiming at the dudes, so long as you're kind of within a certain range of the bad guys. But then they also have to design the system where like you can pull the cursor back behind character. It makes them like halfway translucent so you can see who you're shooting, but that's a very hard game to design for, because you have to make both play styles relevant in the video game. Like there's specifically times where like this makes a lot more sense to use one over the other, but introducing two ways to aim is like, it's very complicated. It's like a very interesting solution to the problem of only having one stick.
One stick, two modes.
Yeah, whereas we need one mode, two sticks.
The
real solution.
That's better.
So anyway, Jet Force Gemini is a very good argument for you need two sticks.
You just gotta have them.
Yep.
Another thing that I thought was just funny, how if you don't press start, it'll just show your lifeless body continually getting shot by the enemy.
I know. Yeah.
It just won't stop. What's that about? That's just a funny decision to make. But like, we're just gonna let you sit there and just same enemy's just gonna keep blasting you.
It is odd. This sort of happens. I feel like Halo may have taken a little bit of this, because like after you die, all the elites are like, "Yeah, dude, get fucked!" Ha ha ha. And like they do the same thing in here, where like the ants just continue to blast you.
Yeah, dude, get fucked. That's definitely what the elites are saying.
Wart. Or get fucked.
Elite for get fucked, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why they would do that, but I guess maybe it's just the like, okay, I'm ready to continue playing. Now I will press start. But it is funny. Yeah, they just keep laying into you, hucking grenades your way and shit like that. Like the ants do not know that you have died.
And they also tell a pretty intense kind of war story. Was this game rated T?
I think it must have been T.
There's a lot of death. These poor cuddly bears and like crying little baby bears.
Yep.
It's a little intense.
There was this story about Miyamoto coming in like while they were in development. And originally the character designs were like much younger people. Like they were like kids, essentially.
The Jet Force Gemini folks?
Yeah. The members of Jet Force Gemini. And they were like, Miyamoto was like, you should make them just a little bit older because it's a little scary to have like children just laying waste to all these bad guys. Because it's like kind of an intense story. Mizar, the like main bad guy, is like absolutely taking over the galaxy, and all the bears are just getting fucked along the way. There's like a little bit of blood and like intensity there. Whenever you throw a grenade, like bug goo comes out of him.
There's a lot of bug goo.
Which as a teenager, you're like, whoa, intense video game.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit too much blood for me.
Yeah. It was rated T, so I think that they were,
They were taking advantage of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, the story was pretty wild. I kind of forgotten about it when I was playing through it. I was like, there's a lot here. One of the levels that you go to as Juno. What's the dude?
The Juno. Yeah.
Yeah. He goes down to this like swamp level, and like all the ants and insects are like zombified, and he's like, what the fuck? Like
Cordyceps?
Essentially, yeah. Like something happened. You roll up on this village and there's like one bear left, and he's like, shit, dude, my like magic got out of control. And like he essentially, what had happened was like the bears were getting taken to like be turned into like laborers or something. And he was like, actually fuck that, and like tried to use his like magic to turn the insects into like undead. And then he did that, but he also like he got shot or something, and then his magical blast hit like this big tree that I guess was like connected to the area, and like just absolutely destroyed a lot of the like biome that he was living in. The swamp is all fucked. All the insects are like zombified now. Just the whole area is like a disaster.
I don't remember that part at all. Damn.
It was mostly in like text. Like,
yeah.
I think when I was younger, I was just slamming A, like, get me through this video game I want to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I didn't remember this at all. It's interesting to like see like what they were putting forth as like story content here. Yeah, I do just want to level some praise for the sci-fi genre. I think like they do a great job with like how varied the levels and environments are, which really does make it feel like a sci-fi game or a sci-fi piece, because like I may not be, this isn't necessarily a part of every sci-fi story, but I think the sort of like broad, fun and almost like cartoony sci-fi stuff, sometimes a way to make it more fun is just show a bunch of different kinds of places. And I think they do that pretty well, which is really fun. Makes the game
just like,
feel
look
cool.
at this huge world and universe that we've created.
Yeah,
all these
exactly.
different places you can go. Yeah.
Feels expansive, which is nice. Yeah. What else about Jet Force Gemini? Do you have anything else?
I think that's it for me.
It was a good game. I didn't have to reach very hard to find something that was good about it.
To find your Podtimists.
Yeah, exactly. And like this game was definitely reviewed pretty well. So like it's not like this was sort of a middle of the road video game. It was definitely like, yeah, that's a pretty good video game, even still.
Consensus was that it was good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like even with the kind of wonky by hindsight control scheme, it was still like, yeah, I get why this was reviewed pretty well at the time. So yeah, fuck yeah, Jet Force Gemini. Fuck yeah, sci-fi.
Good job.
And also go Science Ninja Team Gatchaman.
Go watch it.
Go watch it maybe. And also listen to the Great Gundam Project. Good podcast.
There you go.
There you go. David, we are on Twitter, and you can reach us at Podtimism. We're also on Apple Podcasts if you want to leave a review to help us out. We have an email that's at VGPodtimism. If you want to email us your thoughts or feelings or podtimistic things. And also, thank you for listening to this podcast. Ta-da.
That was good. That was beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. I was just about to say, should I do that all over again? Just make another pass at that?
Up to you.
No, it's fine. I'll not sing the last part. Thanks for listening to our podcast.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate you spending your time here with us as much as we appreciate spending our time here, making it for your ears. Yeah, we saw oddly enough, the Buck Bumble episode was very well received. So thanks for that one.
Fuck that bum.
Ay.
Oh man, that came out bad. I didn't think it was gonna sound that way, but I apologize, everybody. That was awful. It was horrid. It's horrendous.
Oh man. I was not expecting that.
I wasn't either.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be something silly, but
Yeah.
it came out nasty.
It's the danger. I do this too sometimes where like I just sort of say something. I will throw words together into a pot and hope that something funny comes out.
And then sometimes it just ain't.
Sometimes it does and sometimes it ain't.
Yeah.
So it's the risk playing with comedy fire.
That's the way it goes.
Anyway, yeah, thank you. We love you and support you in all your endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. David, do you have any video game wisdom to send us out with?
I do.
Okay. What is it?
Rescue all the bears. Do it. Rescue them all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it challenges you, but you'll be better for it in the end.
You can go fight a big space bug if you do.
You fight a big space bug. I heard he was a real bastard. I never fought him as a child. My dad lost his shit, though, playing him.
Like he was mad?
Yeah, he said it was like really hard. Did you ever fight him?
No, I didn't.
Mizar?
Yeah,
was a real
Mizar.
bastard, apparently.
I love the idea of Gus fucking coming to blows with Mizar and getting pissed off.
What he does is he just starts yelling. Like, not like words, but just sounds. Like, he'll just sit there and be like, just
I
yell.
think that sounds like he's powering up. He realized his power level wasn't strong enough.
And this is to go even farther beyond.
Is this the power of Gus?
Is this the power of Ultra Gustinct?
Gus stinked. We're playing with fire again. That's a rough one.
We are, yeah.
Sorry, Gus, for when you inevitably listen to this episode.
Yeah, sorry, Dad. You're a great guy.
You're a great guy.